All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going beneath the waves to meet some pretty incredible, unseen scientists. They're on the front lines fighting to protect the health of our massive and absolutely vital oceans. 70%. Just think about that number for a second. It's so big, it's kind of hard to even picture. This is the blue heart of our planet, right? It's home to millions of species. It's the engine of our climate. We see the surface, we feel its power, but there's this whole complex world of chemistry happening just beneath the waves. And here's the thing. That chemistry is fragile. It's vulnerable. So that begs the question, who's standing guard? Who are the detectives monitoring the very lifeblood of our planet and sounding the alarm when something's wrong? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out. Because let's be real for a second. This incredible ecosystem, as huge as it is facing some very, very serious dangers. We're talking about everything from industrial chemicals and the stuff that runs off farms to just the sheer amount of waste that ends up in our waterways. Basically, our activities on land are putting the ocean's delicate balance at risk every single day. But this isn't just a story about threats. It's also a story about heroes. So let's meet the scientists who've dedicated their entire careers to protecting this incredible underwater world. They're called professional geochemists. And honestly, the best way to think of them is like doctors for the ocean. They study the chemical makeup of everything, the water itself, the mud on the seafloor, even the tissues of marine animals. And their mission is so much more than just collecting samples in a bottle. They're really on a quest. They're investigating pollution, tracing how different chemicals move through the ecosystem, and detecting these invisible dangers. But here's the most important part. Their work provides the hard, cold data that governments need to actually create effective environmental policies. So what's one of the biggest dangers they're tracking? It's this process that starts out silently, but, well, it has some devastating consequences. Let's call it the poison chain. And you know where this chain begins. It starts on land. Harmful stuff flows into our oceans from all sorts of places. Factories, farms, mines, and even just the rain washing off our city streets. And some of the worst offenders are these invisible poisons, heavy metals like mercury, lead, and cadmium. These things are super toxic. And the problem is, once they get into the ocean, they don't just disappear. Nope. They hang out in the sediment, just waiting to start their dangerous journey up the food chain. Okay, so the first step in that journey is called bioaccumulation. This is where tiny organisms way down at the bottom of the food web, like plankton, they absorb these toxins right from the water. And those toxins just build up and up in their bodies throughout their lives. But then it gets worse. As we start moving up the food chain, a process called biomagnification kicks in. And this is where the concentration of those toxins gets amplified. It literally magnifies at every single level. Think of it like this. A little organism absorbs a tiny bit of toxin. Then a small fish comes along and eats hundreds of those organisms, collecting all their toxins in its own body. Then a bigger fish eats a bunch of those smaller fish. By the time you get to the top predators, the concentration of these poisons can be absolutely off the charts. And here's where it really hits home. This poison chain doesn't just stop in the ocean. It leads to major health problems for marine animals, sure, but it also poses a direct risk to all of us who eat seafood. But this is where our guardians, the geochemists, come back into the story. Their work is the key. It's the absolute key to breaking this chain and making sure we have a healthier future. Because the information they uncover is way too important to just sit in a scientific paper on a shelf somewhere. It's meant for action. I mean, think about the real-world impact here. Their research directly supports the United Nations' big goal for protecting life below water. By finding pollution hotspots, their data helps create targeted cleanup plans. It tells authorities which fish is safe to eat. It helps plan where to create marine protected areas. It really is the science that promotes a sustainable future for our oceans. And all of this brings us to what might be the most important point of all. This isn't just about the ocean. It's about all of us, together. That really says it all, doesn't it? It's that simple. The health of our oceans is completely, 100% tied to the health of our entire planet. You just can't have one without the other. So through all their painstaking work, all the monitoring, the sampling, the analyzing, these scientific guardians aren't just protecting fish or coral reefs. They're working to make sure we have a stable, healthy planet for generations to come. Their work is absolutely vital, no question. But it leaves us with one last
big question. We have these amazing guardians watching the water with incredible precision. But who's watching the land, where all this pollution starts in the first place? I think that's a question for all of us to think about.